Welcome to the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.
Well, welcome to the Sports Hub podcast, sponsored by UF Health Medical Group Orthopedic, Plaza Lincoln, Plaza Cadillac, and our friends at the Warner Family Sports Foundation. Today, we're joined by our friend from Lake-Sumter State College, who's just transitioned. I'm excited to hear all about this. Jay Miller, welcome, man.
Thank you. I'm surprised to be here. Didn't know I was going to be here when I started my day, but I'm happy I'm here. So
sometimes that's the best way.
Absolutely.
We can't prep for it or over prep for it. It's just natural.
There you go.
Well, man, I'm glad you're here. I mean, we know where you're at now. I want people who don't know you to get to know you. Okay. So I've done some research. I've looked online. Everybody I talk to, I want to know where'd they come from? How'd they get to Florida? How'd they get to Lake-Sumter State College in Lake County? And you're an Ohio guy.
Yes.
So I got excited about that because there's very few Buckeyes I get to talk to, but I know you're a Buckeye too. So tell us baseball first, right? Is that where it began for you?
Yeah. So I had started out University of Rio Grande, Southern Ohio.
Unbelievable.
Bob Evans.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever go to Bob Evans, you open up the menu.
I deer hunted with Bob Evans.
Bob Evans would show up at our baseball games.
Absolutely.
Talk trash to the umpires.
I loved it.
So if you ever go to Bob Evans and you see the menu and it says Bob Evans Farms, that's our campus. So shout out University of Rio Grande. So
100%.
There's a whole big, long backstory. I tore my elbow basically in half, came down to rehab. My father was like, if you're going to live here rent-free, you're coaching the summer travel ball team because he was the high school coach. I said, all right, sounds good. It's going to be the worst summer of my life. Figured out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life that summer. And as things develop, you go on. Things happen. We'll fast forward to I married. My wife and I, we both walk across the stage at Northwest Missouri State University. Bearcats. I'm gonna get ousted on that.
We'll edit that so they know for sure.
Northwest Missouri State University. The day we crossed the stage, she goes, because she's a Floridian. She goes, "Congratulations, we're moving to Florida and we're never leaving." And I went, "Oh, okay, we compromised. We're moving to Florida. That's what we're doing." So that was it. Ended up in a house a half mile from my in-laws, 15 minutes from my parents. Couldn't ask for more.
Wow.
But how I got to Lake-Sumter is kind of crazy. I had left Eckerd College as the SID. I wanted to coach softball. I wanted to impact student athletes. I wanted to be in the trenches. My mother-in-law, who works at State Farm, had at the time, player's parent walk in, doing insurance, and he goes, "Has Jay contacted Lake-Sumter yet? They still haven't filled that position." She calls me. I call Mike Matulia, and he goes, "Hey, we offered that job to someone, thank you for calling." I said, "Okay," that was on a Friday. On Monday, he goes, "They didn't want it. How soon can you come over for an interview?" It was, at the time, Skype. I'm telling you, it was Skype. And then Thursday, I was on campus, and Friday, he called, offered me the job. And you talk about divine intervention. It's crazy.
Providential.
Set my life in a route I didn't know was possible, which now takes us to where we are right now.
Wow. So baseball growing up, get injured, rehab, come to Florida. Parents are in Florida. If you're going to be at my house, you're going to coach. What high school team has he got?
So he was at Citrus High School at the time.
Okay.
Both of my parents are career educators, now retired.
Awesome.
They did the Lord's work in the classroom and everything. And so I give them a lot of credit. But, that's what brought me here.
And then transitioning from baseball to girls fast pitch softball. I mean, as I talked to you earlier, my sister played fast pitch softball, and I didn't know much about that environment until I saw the college, spring training, and it's crazy.
And I teach sports psychology too at the college. And I will tell you this, having been in the male side locker room and then in the female side locker room, I'm telling you, I will teach girls every day of the week over male athletes, 100%, except for there is one thing. The girls will hold a grudge. I mean, I've had a player look at another player on the other team and go, "That girl hit me in 10U." And I'm going, 10U? That's 9 years ago. We're still holding on it. And sometimes it works in their favor, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm telling you, that's the only difference. I love coaching female athletes. It's amazing.
And so, how long have you actually been there coaching?
So this is year number 11. This is season 11 at Lake-Sumter State College. Yes.
And the title that we're going to give you right now, the winningest. That's a word. I'm going to use it because I saw it written. They actually wrote that word out. The winningest coach at Lake-Sumter
This has been
State
the
College.
Style
Correct.
Sports Hub.
That was pretty
Presented
cool.
by
The
UF Health
turnover,
Medical
one of the
Group
things in the interviews was the
Orthopaedics.
turnover was like 9 coaches in 8 years or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
And then when you get there and you meet the people and you just don't understand, and I'll be honest, when I went there, it was for me a 3-year plan. I was going to climb the ladder. I wanted Division I. I wanted big time. I wanted all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to say SEC, but Division I.
I'm glad you didn't say SEC. I just feel better about that. I was waiting Big Ten maybe, but SEC.
go.
That's all right.
But I had a player come through my program, Abby Primavera, and she changed my entire perspective on, what am I really here to do? I'm here to impact student athletes. And at the junior college level, I'm bringing on 12 to 15 new student athletes every year. At the 4-year level, I'm probably bringing 4, maybe 5. In the same amount of time, I would double, triple, quadruple the amount of lives I could impact if I stayed at the junior college level. And that really changed my thought process.
So what I'm hearing, and I got to hear about this Addie story.
Yeah.
You said it changed your life in coaching. So I'm hearing a lot of you, it's not about wins and losses. I mean, that's good to have, but to you, it's about development of the full person.
And I cannot lie that when I took the job, I was like, we're going to win. Because the team had averaged 11 wins a year for the previous decade. And I thought, we're gonna take this program to the top, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. And then year 1, I win 13 games, and I'm very humbled. And my AD goes, "You won more than 11, so you can keep your job."
Exactly.
And then the next year we won 21. And after that second year, when it was, all those kids who played for me are my kids, but when it's my program, top to bottom, I recruited all these kids, and I still have great relationships with kids from Team 1. One of them's coaching at Lynn University,
Wow.
and very proud of her and everything those kids have accomplished. But I often apologize because I am not the coach today that I was back then, and it was not. You grow, and
Absolutely.
that's the point. So after year two, I go, you know what? We're not going to do this the way everybody thinks, because that's what I was big on. Winning should be number one. This is college softball. And I thought, we're going to put the person ahead of the player. So that's the most important thing in this program. From this day forth, this is what we're doing. And it resulted in the winningest season the program's ever had. And then I always like to say this story. Fast forward to 2022, probably the most talented team we've ever had. I lost focus on what was most important, and I thought, we're going to win the conference with this group. And we fell 1 game under 500, and it was the worst year of coaching I had. And I won't forget that the reckoning came one night late in the season. I could already tell the season was not going well, and I got a text that says, have you seen this? And it was a young lady from James Madison, softball player, had taken her own life. And I just sat there and I said, what are we really doing? What is the point? After 2022, I thought completely about walking away from coaching. And then it was that year we turned into the skid. And rules came into place. Like in 2023, we weren't allowed to talk about winning at practice. We talked about getting better. We took days off of practice to do team bonding things, to do life things that I think will last longer than any kind of skill set in softball, X's and O's. And it was that year in 2023 that we won the conference, won the state, and fell 3 outs short of going to the World Series. 43 wins, everything like that. And I tell people it's because we do things different. We have girls come into our program that left other programs that I just tell, how did this girl do this? Hit this many home runs? How did she get this? It's the environment. I'm not the greatest softball coach in the world, and I will tell people that. I'm not even the best coach in my family personally. I got my dad there, but I think it's the environment and it's the culture, and that's what carries a lot of people, on. Like last night we got a big win against Seminole State, and I had texts from former players who had continuously lost to Seminole State calling and congratulating me and texting me and all that kind of stuff. And that's what it's about. My big push to them is, you give me 1 year, 2 years committed to our program, I'll give you everything I got for the rest of my life. If that's writing a resume for you, a cover letter for you, if it's helping you, I will help you get your foot in the door. Your job is to kick it in. And that's the big push in the program.
Love it. I want to hear more about Addie. So
Abby,
yes. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to hear about this student athlete who literally helped this coach maybe see things differently and had a different approach. So we're going to take a break, come right back right after this.
Is pain or restricted range of motion keeping you on the sidelines? Get back in the game with expert orthopedic care from UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics. UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics provides robotic-assisted surgical joint repairs and replacements, post-operative care, and inpatient rehabilitation services, all close to home, right here in Lake and Sumter counties. And for those unexpected injuries, UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics offers convenient walk-in and same-day appointments. To learn more or to schedule an appointment with one of their specialists, call 352-323-5665.
Hey, welcome back to the SportsHub podcast. We are talking to the winningest coach at Lake-Sumter State College. And if my English teacher is listening right now, I'm sorry. I've seen it in print, so I'm using it. Jay Miller, it's so good to have you here. Man, you mentioned a player, and Abby,
Yes.
who had an impact in you and really in what happened in your mindset moving forward in coaching. Tell me about that story. How did this happen?
So I'll take it from the beginning. Abby was a kid that, had a reputation. She was a pitcher, solid pitcher. I'm pretty sure she was all state, Nature Coast High School. That literally the day I went in to have her sign her documents, she walked in, hoodie on, sat there and said, "What can I do?" And I said, "I need just sitting here." Just didn't want to talk to me, went back to class. The only kid, and I will mark this down as I don't know why, divine intervention, I don't know. I did not ever ask her GPA. And I found out later she barely graduated high school.
Wow.
Okay? And so that's the starting point. That's where the conversation, Abby comes. It starts with, we got a 3-day weekend coming up and I've got no practice. And people are telling me, hey, Abby says she's not going home. She doesn't want to go home. And so then we get to this team bonding exercise where it's one of the more difficult, one of the more vulnerable ones where you have to stand up in front of your team and you say, hey, there's 3 or 4 easy questions, but then the last ones, if you really knew me, you would know. And then you have to elaborate on this is something. So she gets up there and she said, I've asked her for permission to tell the story. It's in the book. It's chapter 7, The Player That Changed My Life. She gets up there and she says, I don't like public speaking. And then she runs, and I said, that's a cop-out. Nobody likes public speaking. And then she gets up there and she's, trying to collect herself. And she goes, the reason I don't want to go home is my dad makes me buy his drugs for him, and I don't want to be a part of that. And my only way out of this is to stay in this school and to be here and to graduate. And then you get that kind of weight, okay? And then you look at that kid differently, go, you show up every day for practice. You bust your butt every day. You do things I don't even ask you to do to get better, and you got that going in your life. And then your teammates start to look at you different. And so, a year passes by. Abby and I are getting closer. And I tell everybody, Abby now is not the Abby from her freshman year. Growing pains, let's call it that.
Yeah.
Very, very one-on-one conversations. Her dad suffers an overdose her sophomore year. He goes into rehab. He fights back. And Abby was very, very intent on telling me that's not my dad. She's like, that was not him my whole life. He was this amazing individual who went down a wrong path. And so she ends up losing her father her sophomore year. And so I end up at her house the day her dad dies and everything. And so it was just one of those moments where two people are put in the same room. And I'm like, hey, I can never be your dad, but I will be whatever, you need in that moment. And ever since then, it's been this relationship where I tell people Abby is the closest thing to a daughter I will ever have. I've got 2 young boys, and they're fantastic. But Abby and I typically will speak every other week, if not more often on text. So Abby goes from barely graduating high school to leaving Lake-Sumter with a diploma to going up to Franklin Pierce, graduating. And this semester she will complete her master's degree. Yes, at West Georgia.
I just want to say, way to go, Dad. That's
you can't do that.
That's incredible, man.
She Abby's incredible. And that's again the thing that's like, I didn't do anything crazy. I feel like I did what in any good person would do. I saw a void, but she did it all. She did the academic side. She went from barely graduating high school to dean's list to I think she might have had straight A's last semester. To now she's awesome, and I give her full credit. She's overcome so much. Her mom's amazing individual, and just But that is the one story that I feel like I was sent one kid to go, hey, snap out of it. It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about what you can do for other people. And Mike Matulia, previous athletic director, was like, we're here to serve. We're not here to win ball games. And that's kind of the mentality that I've taken over into that role as athletic director, to kind of keep that going on. Because Lake-Sumter, if you look, we are nationally ranked in almost all, if not all of our sports at some point. And I don't have a coach who's focused on winning. I have a coaching staff who's focused on developing student athletes. I always tell, you want the simple answer? We get 13th graders, and we've got 2 years to turn them into adults. We're going to use our sport to develop them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are, and that's the Abby story. And yeah, I'm going to have to call her on the way home now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the book is The Island that you're mentioning.
Yes.
Which I'm going to get a copy of, because I work with a lot of at-risk youth. And the reason I said what I said to you is because, when you see the need working I've worked with kids who have 0.32 GPA, and you got to work at that.
Yeah.
To get that low of a GPA, and then to see a mindset shift, it's the belief that someone has. It's the knowing that someone believes in me, cares about me, that I'm not alone, that I'm not an island, that I can move past this. That is incredible to see. And then what it's doing to you. I can imagine there'd be parents who have daughters who are in that, like you said, 13th grade, that you're trying to bring them to young women and a maturity level that would be standing in line to get their kids in a program like that. Because it ain't about wins and losses, because most parents are thinking long term.
Yeah.
I want my kid to be better than me.
Yeah.
I want them to succeed in life.
Yeah.
And it always won't be with a bat or a ball.
And it's funny because we still have all the issues that every program has. I've got a roster full of 24 girls. That's a lot of mouths to feed when it comes to playing time.
Sure.
And I keep it as simple as possible. If you hit, you play. That's about it. And the other thing that I think resolves a lot of things that we have in our program is we have a 24/7 open door policy. You're allowed to come in my office and talk to me about anything you want, any problem you have. It could be softball related, it could be home life, it could be school, it could be your job, it could be whatever you want it to be. But based on that, we also have a no complaining rule. I don't know if you've ever heard that. You come in, you vent, you get it out, but we're going to work towards a solution.
Come on. Yeah.
And so that actually, the only dilemma with that is people are like, well, I know what he's going to say, so I don't go in there, because it's honesty. And a lot of people don't want to hear honesty sometimes. But I will say this, like in 11 years, it's worked pretty well.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm hearing you talk a lot about coaching, because that open door, that interaction with the players. Now we've moved to athletic director. Tell me about the change. What have you seen? What did you expect to see, I guess? And what are the changes that you didn't expect that are happening for you right now?
So I had no expectations. It came out of nowhere.
Wow.
I was very honest and said, if you're looking for a people person, that's me. If you're looking for a budget-minded person who's going to grow and do this, and that's not me. And so they were on board with we want a people person. And so the changes has been the learning. I'm learning as we go. I'm learning with our assistant director, compliance. I'm learning with our trainers, everything, because before it happened, and I say this, just a softball coach. I interacted with everybody.
Sure.
But it's one of those things that I don't know how you do what you do, but now I have to figure it out. So it's been every day. At the end of my, quote, bad days, I go, man, I learned a lot today.
Wow.
And that's how I try to look at it, is if it's a bad day, guess what? You're going to learn how to do something you've never done before today, and you're going to figure it out. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest change, where softball, when it was just softball and a little bit of SID before we added Lacey, I got time to develop my practices. I got time. And that's where it comes in to where I'm stepping away, because I will never have more fun in my professional career than I did coaching these girls. It's been amazing.
Right.
And this group I have now, fantastic. Couldn't ask for a better group to go out with. But I look at it and I go, I'm able to impact 22 to 25 kids a year. What if I turn that into 22 to 25 coaches, and then they impact their 22 to 25 student athletes? And so I'll never have more fun, but I think I'm about to do the most important work I'm ever going to do in my professional career.
Love it.
And that's where I'm at with it mentally.
Jay, I think Abby redirected some, not just the way you thought about coaching, but really the way you think about life and dealing with people.
Yeah.
So I want to take a break, and I want to come back, and I want us to talk about what you're learning in this process as athletic director and how you interact with all the other coaches. Because as a softball coach, like you said, you meet them, you're with other players and other coaches, but you're focused on what you were doing. Now you have all of that. And how you can pass that on, because I love your mindset. And if you can touch that many coaches, they touch that many players, we multiply this. Yep. So we're going to take a break, come right back, and hear more about how the athletic director position gives this guy an opportunity to reach more, not just student athletes, but coaches who will reach student athletes. We'll be right back.
Luxury awaits during our season's best sales event. Now is the best time to take home a new Cadillac with 2.9% APR and $2,000 savings on our best-selling lineup of electric vehicles. Or take home one of our legendary gas SUVs or sedans, also with these attractive seasonal offers. Plaza owners enjoy benefits like 4 years of free maintenance, free car washes, and more. Come experience the Plaza difference today. Plaza Cadillac, across from the Leesburg Airport. Our drive to be the best starts with you.
Well, we're back with the SportsHub podcast, and we're talking to the winningest coach, I love saying this over and over again, at Lake-Sumter State College, Jay Miller, who is now the athletic director. And that's what I want to hear about. I mean, there's been a change. It's different to be coaching this group of girls, and as you learned through Abby, learning it's more about developing the person than just a win and loss. And then you saw it come in victories because something happened in that team. There was confidence, there was security. It wasn't the coach that's screaming at somebody to do better, because we've all grown up with those coaches yelling at you. I remember a coach, I ain't going to mention the name because he may watch this, grabbing my face mask, pulling it down, and he was shorter than me, and he would just crawl my frame, yelling at me. It didn't do any good.
Nope.
You know, it just didn't do any good. And we all know what it does when you can talk and communicate, and a kid feels confident and secure in that relationship. Now you're an athletic director. Is it difficult for you not to be the coach? Do you miss being on that side of the line?
So I give Mike Matulia a lot of credit. He walked in, years before this ever came to fruition, and he looks at me and he goes, how old are you? And I said, I'm 35. He goes, well, when I took this job, I was 36. I was the AD and the baseball coach, because at the time I wasn't willing to give up softball. Yeah. And he goes, don't make the same mistake I did. I said, what was that? He goes, I wasted my kids' youth watching other people's kids play ball. And so there's a family element to this as well, where I got my two boys. One's already playing travel ball. The other one's a little bit younger. I got an amazing wife who I can't say enough about. But that is where we talk about, we're dealing with human beings. We're not dealing with student athletes. Yeah. There's a title called coach, but they're still a person. And they used to call someone similar to me a player's coach. I hated that because it sounded like I let the inmates run the asylum. Yeah. It's relational. So the whole thing is trying to get our coaches to develop relationships with their student athletes. And I think we have an amazing staff from top to bottom. Everybody is just on board with the same type of, hey, we're here to develop you. Neil Stanley, our beach volleyball coach, I remember a couple of years ago. Actually, it was last year because I was the interim. And he said, man, I just got this feeling like it's not about winning. It's about these girls on a journey. And I was like, dude, keep preaching to me. I'm like, let's go. This is where we need to reside.
He's reading your hymnal. That's what's happening. He's knowing and watching and picking up on things. That's awesome.
So it's been great. I'm excited for the future. It will be a tough transition with no softball. Every day for 2 hours, no one can touch me between the lines unless Miss Tammy walks out to practice and tells me she needs me. But that's it. Other than that, I got these 2 hours with these girls where I could just be with them. So that's going to be a tough transition. But The other day, I got to stand in the baseball dugout because our game ended, and I got to watch them. And I'm going, man, I get to stand in everybody's dugout.
Come on.
I get to stand on everyone. I get to go to the cross country events at 6 a.m. where I never could because I got my own program. I've got volleyball's going to Illinois next year, and I'm like, hey, can I get a plane ticket?
Right.
I want to be a part of everyone's team the way I was my team, and that's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Because it's really, the whole campus is a culture thing.
Yes.
And you have a chance to influence a culture mindset that can flow down to all the other coaches, which in turn come to all the other players. Mm-hmm. And I think I love what that former AD said to you. Think about your family. Don't miss that.
Correct.
Because at my age, I think back to all the time, how quick time goes by. Gosh, we're almost at the end of February already.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, fire your fireworks off in July and buy your Christmas tree. Because that's how fast it goes,
Yep.
And to watch those boys of yours. And I think I saw a TED Talk of you talking about your young son.
Yeah.
He had a medical issue.
Yeah.
That in and of itself would be just a mindset to go, I got to be here.
So that's actually what sparked the entire writing of the book, was the people who reached out to me while I was in the hospital. And it was all through softball. The state of Florida, when it comes to, softball in general, but then junior college, it's a tight-knit group. Nothing gets past them. I get phone calls that I don't want from people, talking about different stuff. But then also I can turn around and call Courtney Miller from Seminole State. She was there for 30 years. That's who I get my advice from.
Wow.
The first winning season we ever had, or the 2023 season, we're in first place. We're nationally ranked. People are like, act like you've been here before. I was like, never been here. Never been allowed in this room. So I called her. I was like, I'm afraid to screw this up. She goes, you won't. But she was the first person I called. And so once that group kind of reached out asking about my son, I was like, I think we're doing something at Lake-Sumter that's pretty cool, because Lake-Sumter softball had not been on the map yet and everything like that. And so that's actually what sparked I need to put this down.
Did you ever see yourself writing a book?
Zero shot. I didn't read until mid-year second grade. And the only reason I started reading is because I collected baseball cards and I wanted to know how much they were worth. That is the only reason I started reading.
Wow. And look at you. That'll be an encouragement, not only to the students,
Yeah.
but anybody watching this podcast to think about, here's a guy, you didn't see yourself writing a book, but you took a bad circumstance, something that happened, and really made it transformative.
Yeah. And I have to give a lot of credit to my wife, because absolutely none of this is possible without her. She's a former college athlete, both softball and soccer. So she's the real deal. And I always tell people, without her, she's just amazing. And I like to tell this story real quick. She kind of set me, I think it might have been even 2022 when I was going through my rough. We got walked off on by the number one team in the country. We had never beaten them. We had them on the ropes. I think we were up by 3. I didn't talk to anybody. I was like, get in the vans. I wasn't mad at them. They competed, but I was like, I'm not.
Yeah.
We went to eat. I ate by myself. Didn't even want to sit with my assistant coaches. Drive back, no radio, silence. Got an hour drive from the school back to my house, and halfway back from the school to my house, I get this phone call from my wife, and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm driving home. You got my tracking. You know where I'm at. She's like, oh, okay. And she's like, hey, the boys want ice cream. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, what's wrong? And I said, did you watch the game? She goes, yeah, I watched the game. I said, well, then you know what happened. She goes, is that what's wrong with you? She goes, I said, yeah. And she goes, she goes, the boys don't give a bleep if you won or lost. Get them ice cream, come home, and be dad. And I said, yes, ma'am.
I like that lady.
She has kept me in line. She rides the roller coasters emotionally as much as everybody during the middle of a season. I always get her flowers on opening day, so she got 4 dozen roses this year because it's the last one. And so when we won, my team's got rings, so I bought her a ring. So she got her own ring for that, and she's just, without her, nothing I do is possible.
So your boys, they play ball?
Oh yeah, I've got Beckett and Maddox. We're baseball fans. Both my wife and I.
Like it.
My oldest one's pretty upset that I'm done coaching, and I said, I get to spend more time with you. And he goes, I know. I said, you can still come to the school. It's chill. He's like, but I like to watch you coach. And I was like, well, I want to coach you. And he goes, okay.
That's perfect. To have your dad as your coach, and also the dad who has this mindset. You're going to coach differently. You're going to be that kind of father differently. I mean, that trickles down. Everything that you're talking about is a powerful statement, not just on a college campus, but just community driven.
Yeah. So after 2022, I started thinking, and then we did all these really weird different things in 2023. I actually went back to school and got a graduate certificate in student athlete mental wellness counseling. Wow. So now that's my big thing. It's a holistic approach to, you want to do better at sports, it'll probably translate to you doing better in life, but we've got to have a relationship to build that.
Man, I love it. Jay, they're fortunate to have you. They really are. I mean, to have someone in your position that has that kind of overreach to the different teams that's going to trickle down. I mean, Lake-Sumter State College will be a different place athletically because of what you're building in young people. They're going to have a different mindset. And that's going to, like you just said with Abby, it's going to carry on past the field. It's going to make them different moms, different in their relationships.
I'm really proud because at the highest point, I had 9 former players coaching either at the college level or the high school level. I've got another one at USC Sumter, and JJ, who was my assistant, and she's texting me all the time, and I'm just like, spread the word, man. This is how it should be done.
Wow. He just said it. That's how it should be done. And if you're out there today and you've got a young lady, a young man, because now we can say young men, young women, because he's not just a girls softball coach. This is somebody who has a mindset to develop young people into what they can be in their potential. I am so thankful for guys like this in our community. Lake-Sumter State College, you're lucky to have this guy. Jay, it's been great having you here today. On behalf of UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedic, Plaza Lincoln, Plaza Cadillac, and our friends at the Warner Family Sports Foundation, you've been listening to the SportsHub podcast. We'll see you next time.
This has been the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.